Do you want to harness the ability to write code, but don't want to spend time learning how to program or not know how to write code? Well, today is your lucky day, because this video right here will help you understand how to write code without having to write code. And my god, that sounded like one of those weird ass American adverts, the cheesiest things I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, how's it going everyone? My name's Saga, and in this video today, I want to talk about no-code technologies. And these technologies are something that I've personally used as well, especially when I did some freelance work over the summer last year, where I was managing to earn £400 a day for some of the jobs that I did do. And so this video is really here to explain what no-code is, some of the pros and cons that I've learned from working with no-code as to why they're good, why they're bad. And also I'm going to talk about what no-code tools are out there that I like to use and that are favorites of mine. And yeah, just generally I guess how to get started with using no-code technologies. So stay tuned, let's get into it. So no-code tools are basically what they say they are. There are tools which you can use to build things that would generally require software to make, but without having to write a single line of code. So the way they work is generally through like a user interface where you either drag and drop components or you sort of combine blocks together to make certain workflows. And the general concept of it is that it's easy for anyone to understand what's going on, because software is really weird because you sort of have to understand the code and understand how it flows to really make use of writing code. And it's not easy to understand, and it takes a while to get used to writing code. So no-code technologies takes away all that sort of abstraction of writing code and makes it easy to visualize and see what you are actually building and what workflow you are making. And this really makes it easy to develop automated workflows. It makes it easy to build things like websites, web apps, and databases without having to write a single line of code. So if it's something quick you want to make, but don't have the money to spend on a developer, nor have the time to learn how to program it, then no-code is definitely the tools for you. And that's an overview of what no-code is and how no-code tools are used. And let me just go on to some of the pros and cons that I found when I was using no-code technologies. Okay, so some of the benefits to these no-code tools are that they're free to start off using, so you can learn without having to pay anything at all. And they're really useful to help you create workflows or web apps or web pages without actually writing any piece of code. So it saves you a lot of time and also saves you a lot of money because you don't have to hire a developer to do the work for you. And so those are the key benefits I'd say to no-code. It's just the fact that if you really want to build anything relatively simple, no-code is the best way to go for you, especially if you don't have a huge amount of money or time. But when it comes to the negative parts of no-code development, there are limitations in terms of the speed at which some of the workflows can be processed, and also your ability to finally control what needs to be done. And so if you want to build something on a larger scale, no-code is probably not where you want to be heading, because you won't have the really fine-tuned granular controls that you need to develop a large-scale application. However, for small jobs and small automation tasks, it's pretty good because it helps you develop these systems much quickly than you would if you had to code them. So that's like an overview of the pros and cons of what the no-code tools have. And I'm gonna jump you guys onto my screen so I can actually show you what these technologies are and sort of give you an overview as to how you go about using them. So let's jump straight on. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is called Zapier. And this one is really used to try and connect all your different sort of web applications that you use and trying to automate tasks between them. So for example, if you have a spreadsheet where you save data for various things, maybe it's people. You can connect that to a Zap, because that's what Zapier names its little automated workflows that you make. And you can make a Zap that emails, say, a certain person or someone, for example, depending on if a new entry has been made into a spreadsheet. So the way a Zap looks like, if you open it up, is like this. So in essence, you have like a trigger block and then an action block. So this is the most basic of Zaps you can make, which is a trigger and then a single action. However, you can add multiple other steps, so you can have different paths where you can put a conditional to say, if something is this, do path A, if something else, or if it's something else, do path B, and so on. So you can sort of create your own logic and workflow as to how you want to automate a specific task. So that is Zapier. My second no-code tool that I want to talk about is Webflow. So Webflow is a tool which you can use to make your own website or e-commerce website, and you can integrate this with Zapier as well. So Webflow has a number of integrations inside Zapier, so you can connect Webflow to other no-code tools as well. But fundamentally, Webflow works in a way, it's kind of like a drag and drop site where you can build a website from it, but it's much better than things like Wix or WordPress, I'd say, because you're really building a site as if you were to code it. However, you don't have to physically write the code yourself. It gives you a lot of controls as to how you can form your site. It also gives you pre-made layouts that you can just whack in there, like so. And so overall, it's a pretty easy tool to use, and you can quickly develop a nice website pretty much just from a few clicks and drags of various content, and you can create a nice looking web page from that. So that's Webflow, and I'd say that's a really useful tool that I've used as well to design websites myself. And my next one I'm going to talk about is Airtable. So Airtable is basically, it works, it looks like Excel, but it works like a database, for example. And so here's like a people database I've made just before, just to show you guys an example of how it works. So Airtable is kind of like a, so like a database, like I said, and you're able to enter things manually on here. So I can put my name, and then I can put my date of birth, address, phone number, whatever, right? And when I look at this view, so I'm now looking at the grid view, I can group items by name, I can filter by whatever category and so on. But the good thing about Airtable is that I can also use it and integrate it with Zapier. So I can say, maybe if someone has filled out a form, for example, on Webflow, I can use Zapier to save the information onto Airtable. So in essence, you have a really good automated system that you can make that will save entries to a form. So maybe you're collecting emails or something like that. So you can save all that data on Airtable just using these no-code tools to create a sort of, I guess, a kind of web app, I'd say. So that's where I'd say these no-code tools are really awesome, because you can connect them all together, and that's really like the main benefit to these tools, I'd say. So that's an overview of my top 3 favorite no-code tools. So it was again Zapier, Webflow, and Airtable. And if you have any questions about how to use any of these, I'm hoping to make videos on each one of these and how best to use them. And also, if you have any questions in the meantime, then just drop a comment. I'll try and get back to you and make sure that, well, I definitely will get back to you. I'll just make sure that you have a good answer to your question. But that literally sums up today's video. And so if you want to know more about no-code tools, definitely subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be making more videos, hopefully in detail about what each of these no-code tools do. And also, yeah, I have other videos I want to make regarding technology, engineering, software, and even no code. So definitely subscribe, and I shall see you in another video. Thanks for watching, guys.